Season 6 will drop soon, and with that we'll get a new infected variant. Alongside that new infected variant, we'll get a lot of infected changes. So long story short, I've been in contact with someone from Sledgehammer Games for a moment now regarding some infected feedback. So yeah, here he is. Because I wanted to give proper credit to him and his team, and also because he's the one that contacted me first regarding those feedback. I'm also giving you a way to spread some love and show that the community do care about infected. The only thing I'll ask you guys is to not spam his DMs or anything regarding infected or trying to ask for any exclusive info or anything, because that won't happen. Keep in mind that he's the one that reached out for me to get some feedback and make some possible changes for Season 6. So me, you, or anyone asking for changes do not mean they will happen. What you can do though is, instead of having too many people talking about the same changes that they want to be done in infected, is work as a community. So instead of like having too much people sending him the same DM every time, so like spamming him in a way, you guys could either join my Discord server and talk there about anything you want to change, or do the same as like on Twitter, send me a DM on Twitter about anything you want to get changed, and I'll do a centralized message that I'll send to him. But also, again, it's not because I'm asking or you guys are asking about anything to get changed that it will happen. Okay, let's now talk about the important stuff, what you came for. I'll first talk about any changes that might happen, and then I'll answer some of the biggest community asked questions that I keep seeing everywhere. Again, I want to make it clear that it's a theory, it's things that we talked about. I'm not 100% sure that everything that I'll talk about will get changed, but yeah. The first point, and I think the one that everybody wants to get changed, is the loadouts, the survivor loadouts. So again, I don't have the exact info, it's mainly things we talked about. But yeah, the weapons loadout will be improved. I don't know exactly what that means, if it means we will get way more loadouts, if that means we'll get way more ARs, way more SMGs or anything. I just know they're about to get improved. A few details he talked about was like having bigger magazine and better range, which means it's about to be better in a way. Also, about the loadouts, the perks are going to be improved overall. Again, I don't have the details of what perks are about to change, but basically the perks are going to get changed. And also, taking in account is the equipment. Again, no clue, but I think some of the loadout, like the famous one having the decoys, might not be there anymore, right? Because decoys are a bit useless. So yeah, just so you know and you have a bit more of information, I did ask him what type of playstyle he will take in account, just to sort of try to know what type of loadout might come, and he did tell me he was taking in account 3 playstyles. You have the people that, as he said, was defending, so like the camper, right? Even though it's not a bad thing, like people that do camp on like the base camping spot of the map, right? Which is very smart. You have the people that hide, right? The people that love to hide, and in his words, the runner, so like the people that do rotate. So it means that most of the loadouts, or at least some of them, will take in account multiple type of playstyle. So I think it's a good thing, because I do like to rotate a lot, I do like to run around the map, play a bit aggressive, so most playstyle will be viable. Another loadout change that might come, and this one might be fun, is the infected loadout changes. Again, no clue if that's going to happen or not. In the promotional image of infected, you see Bubby, I think it's called, the Burger Town guy with his hands out, and the phrase says close. Something we talked about is trying to maybe see if a different type of infected loadout might work, meaning having fist and 2 throwing knives per infected. Again, I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but with the way it's written in the blog itself, it might be the loadout the infected will have. So like fist plus 2 throwing knives, which will mean that close range will be way easier for the survivor to survive, but having 2 throwing knives will make the long range better for them, which will be a nice sort of balance, because if you put fist, 1 throwing knife might not be enough, knowing that close range they might always need multiple people to get a kill. I think if that happens, it will probably be fun. The only thing I'm scared about is how hard it will be to dodge 2 throwing knives per player. But again, seems like a very fun idea. The third thing will be the map and the UAV. The UAV already got disabled in Fish Faction, and the fact that he told me about people hiding as like a playstyle will mean that the UAV will probably be disabled overall in the changes. But I don't know about the last player though, if the UAV will turn on or if it will stay off. The last big change that we talked about, and I think most of you will be divisive about that, is a timer change. Basically, the point was giving the ability of more survivor to win without having to nuke, for example. Like, his idea was to limit the game of like 5 minutes, for example. At first, I wasn't so sure about that, and I even made a full video talking about the fact that the loadouts were the issue, and basically, even if you limited the game to 5 minutes, for example, the game will still end way before that, because on average, an infected game will last only 2 minutes. But because he told me the timer change will take in account also the loadout changes, I do agree a bit more about that changes, because his point was that a good player might still be able to nuke in those 5 minutes and people will also have a chance of surviving. Which, I'll be honest, I do agree in a way. So basically how it will work is only the 5 first survivor to die will make the timer go up. Which means that in theory, every survivor will give 1 more minute on the timer. So I think it's like the perfect balance. So the game doesn't have like a 8-minute timer, so like survivor can still have a chance to win. And at the same time, if you play very well as a team and if you play very well by yourself, for example, meaning that the infected team are only able to get only a few kills, the first 5 people to give time still give you the ability to have a longer game and not have the game ending after like 2 minutes, for example. But yeah, that's basically it for the changes that might come, at least the one that I'm aware of. There might be more to come that I don't know about, right? Things that we never talked about. But a few things that I can theorize about after seeing the blog post and such is that we'll probably get new skins for infected and survivors, same as like the holiday event when infected got introduced in Modern Warfare 3. And also we might get the new horror themed maps. Not sure though. But now let's talk about some questions that I know a lot of you have. A lot of the community ask so many times about that, and I do have the answers finally. First off, Specialist. Talking about the loadout changes and like the perk and such, I did ask him if Specialist perk, so like having every perk after X amount of kills, was a possibility. But unfortunately, this is not possible, even though he wishes it was there, right? I guess they would have wanted, but unfortunately, this is not possible. Another thing I asked about was the map situations, because I don't know if you remember, because I think it was Season 4 or like Season 4 Reloaded, a lot of the maps got removed from the infected map pool. As most of you may know, the Tokyo one got removed because there was a part of the map with beds where you were able to hide with the shield loadout and have a sort of like god mode. But for the other maps, they weren't intentionally removed. Apparently it was due to some limitation, and he told me that he'll try to see what they can do to add them back. Again, that does not mean they'll come back eventually, but just so you know, he'll try to see if they can be back. Another big thing that I told him was the inability of calling the MGB on consoles. He did not answer me about that, which I guess he forgot to answer because he was always very responsive about any question I had, so I guess he probably forgot to answer. But just so you know, I did talk about the MGB on console, so they might have looked into that. Another big question that I asked him, and I think some of you will not like the answer, is 200 HP still allowing throwing knives to one-shot a choice? And he told me that yes, it was a choice, that the double health buff or like 200 HP was mainly to focus helping the last survivor getting protected from like the knives, and that it was a good feeling hitting a nice throw knife, and getting a hit marker would suck. I'll be honest, I'm a bit 50-50 on that. In one side, I'm thinking like selfishly, right, only about my playstyle, about how I play the game and how I would want the game to be for me. So in that aspect, I think I will prefer, in a way, I will prefer the throw knife two tapping and not one-shotting. But at the same time, you know, the game doesn't revolve around me, right? There's other people playing the game. So the fact that, you know, getting nice throwing knives, especially for the kill cam, only to get a hit marker would suck. I guess that will make sense, right? But also knowing that the infected loadout change might happen, which means they might get fist plus knives, throwing knives, sorry. It will be maybe a bit easier to survive as last, but at the same time, if you have 200 HP and you need what, like 6-7 punch to die, I will guess that throwing knife one-shotting will make way more sense. And the last main question I talked about was the care packages, right? Because I know a lot of you guys love the care packages. You know, like some tricks were fun to use. Like for example, the Juggernaut was so fun to use on Infected, such a nice kill streak. I know I don't really mind personally about care packages being back. Because I think, once again, I mainly go for nukes, so I guess it's like my main thing. But I do agree, playing as a jug is always fun. So I did ask him about that. He told me that if it were to happen, again, not sure, it won't come out in this update for sure, but it could come out in the future. But just so you know, I told him about it. He might keep the idea, he might do it later, he might not, we don't know. But at least I asked him about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all you can expect to come in the update next week. Tell me in the comments what you think about every changes that might come, and if you're satisfied with the question that has been answered. Again, if you have any feedback and you want to share them, you can always drop them in the comments below. Join my Discord, ask those questions on Twitter. But yeah, hope you'll all enjoy the update next week. I'm very excited and I really hope it's going to be fun, because we need way more fun times and like better times in Infected. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want more Infected content, and don't forget to, you know, like the video. and I'll see you next week for the update.